Be me, 19, living in a college dorm. Philosophy major because I thought it would make me look smart. First week of classes. Professor assigns group project. 6 people in my group. 3 guys, 3 girls. Immediately one of the girls takes charge. Her name is Rachel. Short hair, clipboard, already made a schedule. We sit down for first meeting. Rachel assigns roles before anyone says anything. She gives herself project lead. Assigns me note taker. I say nothing because I am new and also scared. Next meeting comes around. I actually prepared a full outline. Stayed up till 2 in the morning, proud of it honestly. Show it to the group. Rachel glances at it for 5 seconds. Says, that is not the direction we agreed on. We did not agree on anything. She handed us roles like a foreman at a factory. One of the other guys, Marco, backs me up, says my outline is solid. Rachel gives him a look that could curdle milk. Calls his feedback unhelpful. I say maybe we should vote? Rachel says this is not a democracy, it is a project. Marco and I look at each other. Neither of us says anything. She wins by default. 3 weeks pass. I am doing the most work by far. Compiling sources, formatting citations, writing full paragraphs. Rachel is coordinating. By which I mean she is sending emails about the emails. One of the other girls, Priya, actually notices. Quietly tells me she thinks the workload is uneven. I say, yeah. She says she will say something. She does not say something. Project due date approaches. We present in class. Rachel stands up front the entire time. Reads from slides I wrote. Does not say my name once. Professor gives us an A. Rachel accepts the compliment on behalf of the group. Says it was strong collaborative leadership. I chew on my pen cap. After class, Marco and I walk out together. He says, you wrote like 70% of that. I say, I know. He says, why did you let her do that? I do not have a good answer. Go back to my dorm. Sit on my bed. Start thinking about it seriously. Was she just bossy, or was I not pushing back enough? Both felt true at the same time. Next semester I have a different class. Intro to Gender Studies, required credit, not my choice. Professor is a small, intense woman named Dr. Voss. She looks like she has read every book twice. First lecture, she asks the class a question. She says, what is patriarchy? Half the class already knows the answer. Or at least sounds like they do. They use words I have to look up later. I write down patriarchy in my notebook, then stare at it for a while. Try to think if my dad is patriarchy. He is an accountant who cries at dog movies. Does not seem like it, but then I think about my grandfather. He used to tell my mom to let the men talk at Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving. I always thought it was just him being old. Dr. Voss talks about systemic patterns, not just individual bad guys. The idea that the rules themselves are tilted. Before you even step up to play, that one lands differently than I expected. A guy in the back raises his hand, says, but women can be just as bad as men. Cites Rachel from my group project in spirit. Except his version is his ex-girlfriend. Dr. Voss nods and says, yes, and he does not know what to do with the and. Neither do I honestly. She explains that individuals acting badly does not cancel out larger patterns, and larger patterns do not excuse individuals. Both things can exist at once. I write that down too. Midterm essay assignment comes out. We have to argue a position on gender roles. I decide to write about the project, about Rachel, about how I just let it happen. I write about how I did not speak up, and then blamed her entirely for the outcome, and how that was its own kind of convenient. If she is the villain, I do not have to examine myself. That was uncomfortable to write. I also write about how she might have felt walking into a group project, where the guys sat back and waited for someone else to lead, then resented her when she did. It is not a Rachel defense essay. She was genuinely difficult, but difficult in a way that had context, and so did my reaction. Dr. Voss gives me a B+. Writes in the margin, good instincts, underdeveloped conclusion. I reread my conclusion. She is right, I just stopped when it got hard. Second half of the semester, a new student joins the class. Guy named Derek, very confident voice. Sits in the middle of the room like a lighthouse. Derek has opinions, many opinions. He shares them often. He says feminism is just women wanting special treatment. He says men are also oppressed, just differently. He says statistics are being misused. Some of what he says is wrong. Some of it is half right in an annoying way. Dr. Voss does not shut him down. She asks him questions instead. He does not like questions as much as statements. One day she asks him, if men and women are already equal, why do the numbers keep showing gaps? Derek says the numbers do not account for choices. She says, who shapes the choices that are available? Derek opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. He says, culture. She says, yes. He realizes too late that he just agreed with her. The class is very quiet for a moment. I feel for Derek a little. He is not a bad person. He is just used to his opinions being the finishing move. And this class keeps returning them like a serve. I talked to him after class one day. We get food from the campus cafe. He is actually pretty funny when he is not performing. He tells me he grew up in a house where his dad worked and his mom stayed home, and it seemed fine to him. So he does not understand why the template is the problem. I tell him about my grandfather at Thanksgiving. He is quiet. Then says, yeah, my uncle is kind of like that. I ask if he thinks his uncle is just old-fashioned or actually wrong. He thinks about it. Says probably both. That is more than I expected from that conversation. End of semester. Dr. Voss does a last lecture. Asks the class what they are taking with them. People say various things. Some of it sounds rehearsed. Some of it sounds real. When she gets to me, I say, I think I came in here wanting someone to tell me which side was right. And I am leaving knowing that is the wrong question. She nods. Derek in the back says, what is the right question then? I say, probably something harder. He laughs. Summer comes, I go home. Family dinner. My grandfather is there. He is older now, moves slower. Still tells the same stories at the table. Halfway through dinner, my aunt starts talking about her promotion. She runs a logistics team now, 40 people under her. My grandfather waits for her to finish. Then turns to my uncle and starts a different conversation. I watch my mom's face when it happens. She has watched this for 30 years. Her expression does not change, which means she has practiced not letting it change. I almost say something. I think about Dr. Voss. I think about Rachel. I think about Derek saying, probably both. I say something. Not loud, not a speech. Just Grandpa and Lisa was still talking. The table goes quiet. My grandfather looks at me. He does not look angry exactly, more like surprised that the furniture spoke. My aunt looks at me too. My mom looks at her plate. Then very slowly picks up her fork. My grandfather says, I know she was talking. Then he goes back to talking to my uncle. Nothing changes, technically. But my aunt finishes her story anyway, to me and my cousin, because we are now the audience she has. Later my mom finds me in the kitchen. Says, you did not have to do that. I say, I know. She says, he is not going to change. I say, I know that too. She is quiet, then says, it was still good. Goes back to the dining room. I stand in the kitchen for a minute. Think about how many Thanksgivings she sat through that, how many dinners, how many conversations that just got talked over. Think about how I never noticed, or noticed and thought it was just how he was, and how just how he was covered a lot of ground. Go back to college in the fall, different classes now. No more gender studies requirement, but I notice things differently. Group project in marketing class. I speak up early this time. Not to dominate, just to not disappear by default. There is a difference. There is a girl in the group who clearly knows the most. I make sure she gets to finish her sentences. She looks mildly surprised, which says something about her previous projects. Marco texts me at some point, says he is dating someone now. Says she is very direct and it drives him insane. I say maybe that is not her problem. He sends back a string of confused emojis. I'm not some enlightened person now. I still get annoyed at things I should examine more. Still catch myself assuming things I should not. Still sometimes want to blame the nearest difficult woman instead of the situation, but I am at least watching for it, which is more than I was doing at 19. Note, taking for someone who never asked my name. Second year ends. I run into Rachel at the library. She is studying alone. We have not spoken since the project. She seems surprised. I say hi. We talk for a few minutes. Awkward, but not hostile. She tells me she is double majoring now. Pre-law and economics. Sounds exhausting. She asks how the project went for me grade-wise. I say it went fine. She says she knows she was hard to work with. I'm not ready for that sentence. She says she grew up having to fight to be heard. So she went too far the other way. Overcompensated until she was the one not listening. I say I did not push back when I should have. She says, yeah, I know, somehow that is not offensive. We are both quiet. I say it was a long time ago. She says 1 semester is not that long. I say fair enough. We go back to our separate tables. Nothing is resolved. But it is also not unresolved in the same way, if that makes sense. Walk home from the library. Think about how I spent months making her the symbol of something. Instead of just a person who was also figuring it out wrong. Think about my grandfather. Think about Derek. Think about Dr. Voss saying yes, and there is probably a conclusion to this story, where I become someone with all the answers. Give a short speech at dinner. Everyone claps. That does not happen. What happens is smaller. I keep noticing things I used to not notice. I keep asking questions when I want to make statements. I keep staying in the room when it gets uncomfortable. That is probably it, honestly, not a transformation. Just paying attention more than I used to. Green text ends here, I guess. Still a note-taker in some ways. But at least now it is my own notes.